Hello, hello, hello. I am Pat Dinkins Green, the midwife for midlife of strategic midlife transformational coaching. You cannot believe how long I have wanted to do this broadcast. It's going to be about living intentionally. So I've been studying, trying to get my material together so I could do this scope. And I thought about it and I was like, I'm my own worst enemy. I'm trying to be perfect. Perfection will kill you. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do the broadcast any old way. And even if I have to read to you guys some notes or whatever from the paper, I'm going to do the broadcast. So here I am doing the broadcast, living intentionally. As I stated, I'm Pat Dinkins Green, the midwife for midlife, for strategic midlife transformational coaching. And a lot of times when I have retreats and seminars, I tell the attendees, if you want to make a change, you have to be intentional. I'm always telling people, be intentional, be intentional. And what does it mean to be intentional? To be intentional means to have a set plan, to be willing, ready, and able to take action. Now, a lot of times, and I found this amazing, do you know 95 to 98% of us, and I did say us, not just you, but us, live their life on autopilot. I mean, that's just like going along like a robot. We're pre-programmed going along. And yesterday, what made me really decide to go ahead and do this scope today is that I was on my way to my church Saturday mornings. I do every Saturday morning. And I was going down the highway. It's a straight shot from my house to my church. And all of a sudden, I looked up and I was going across the bridge which connects Virginia to Maryland. My church is located in Maryland. I live in Virginia. And I was like, wow, I just zoned out. I was driving on the highway. And any of you in the DMV area know 495 is like really busy. So I was driving on the highway on autopilot because I looked up and I was going across the bridge. That's not good while you're driving. It's not good while you're doing a lot of things. So ask yourself, what are you doing on autopilot? And I'm going to give you some questions later on to help you kind of examine your life as far as doing stuff on autopilot. Now, when we're on autopilot, excuse me, we miss out on opportunities. There's so much that we can do once we start living intentionally. Now, like I say, I'm going to flip pages because I really wanted to do this, and I needed to stop waiting on being perfect. So I'm flipping the page, all right? So being intentional means that you are purposely taking action in your word, the things you do. And why should we be intentional? Because if you be intentional, you can accomplish so much more. Mahatma Gandhi said that we need to be the change in the world that we want to see. Be the, you know what I'm saying? Be the change in the world we want to see. So we can only do that by being intentional. Now, when we are being intentional, we need to embrace imperfection. And that's what I decided to do. That's why I'm on here, because I decided to embrace imperfection. Like I said, I was busy trying to be perfect. So I was like, okay, what the heck? People need to hear the information. I want them to hear the information. I want them to start living intentionally. So embrace your imperfection. Stop letting that be your worst enemy of being perfect. Now discover your choices. This will also help us be intentional. A lot of times we feel stuck, but there is such a wide range of limited choices for us to allow us not to be stuck. So examine, your options as far as getting unstuck. Declutter your life. That'll also help you to be intentional. And one thing we also need to do, we need to stop worrying about everybody else, what others will think. Because a lot of times, we worry about other people, and that helps us to a lot of times stay on autopilot. Now, the autopilot. Like I said, I shared with you my experience yesterday of being on autopilot. 95 to 80% of us. That leaves only about, 5 to 2% that are living life intentionally. Isn't that something? Can you imagine 5 to 2% living life intentionally? We need to change that, people, including me. We've got to change that. So I want to also give you some things, like I said, some questions to ponder, to move you from being ordinary to extraordinary. Because it's time to make a change, ladies, gentlemen. It's time, boys and girls, time to make a change. So some things you want to do is ask yourself, take a moment and reflect, even if you have to go off by yourself and reflect and ask yourself, what percentage of my life is on autopilot? Now, I know I gave a brief example of being on autopilot, but autopilot, once again, is when we're doing things without even thinking about it. You may even consider when you get up in the morning, you get out of bed, you go in the bathroom, do what you need to do in the bathroom, get dressed, and you do this so automatically without even thinking about it. So, take a moment and reflect. What percentage of your life is on autopilot? So, number 2, which of your routines, responses, and activities are on autopilot? So the first one was, what percentage of your life is on autopilot? And the second step or action for you to do is to look at what routine activities and responses are on autopilot. And what you should do is just make a list. This is to help you move from autopilot to intentional, living life intentionally. Number 3, what do you want to change to become more intentional in your life? So this is all about reflection. Think about it. What about my life that I want to live intentionally? Is it your personal life, physical, your relationships, financial, career, recreation, friends, social, spiritual, and mental? Anything that's important to you. Number 4, one way to shift your behavior is to map out a new destination. We talked about getting up in the morning. Maybe do a little shift. Instead of eating breakfast after you get dressed and then eat breakfast. Just kind of shake up, shake things up, shift it up, shake it up, shake it up. Okay, number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To help you on your journey, switch up a regular routine. Like I just said, maybe you just want to shift from dress to breakfast or from breakfast to dress. So take a moment and do these questions. I'll run by them again to help you out. Get a place and reflect and ask yourself, what percentage of your life is on autopilot? Number 2, which of your routines, responses, and activities are on autopilot? So as I stated previously, make a list of what in your life is on autopilot. Number 3, what do you want to change to become more intentional in your life? That's a question to ponder. What do you want to change to become more intentional in your life? And as I said, think about all the areas from personal, spiritual, relationships, financial, career, friends. Just think about, what do I want to change to become more intentional? Number 4, one way to shift your behaviors is to map out a new destination. What new outcomes or goals that will help you overcome being on autopilot? And number 5, to help you along your journey, just shift up your routine a little bit, drive a different route, or do things out of order. Try something new. So all this is not only to take you off of autopilot, but it's to help you move from the ordinary to the extraordinary. Nothing like being extraordinary. And I'm sure you want to be extraordinary too. So again, I'm Pat Dinkins Green, the midwife for midlife of strategic midlife transformational coaching. Until next time, remember, move from the ordinary to the extraordinary. Bye-bye.